is Arts Alive. I'm Lynda Phillippi. My guest today is Elizabeth Santone, and later on in the show we'll have her husband Mike. So welcome, Liz.
Hey, thanks for being here.
And I'm really excited about the fact that you're going to be doing the Art Harvest Studio Tour again.
Me too. The tour is such fun, and we really enjoy having people come by, and they always tell us interesting stories or like to look at the work. And it's always interesting also to see how people respond. I always have new stuff, and sometimes they kind of like walk by it. And sometimes they really like it, so it's nice to see.
You know, I think in particular the work that you do, especially the felted stuff, it's so accessible.
Yeah.
It's so touchy.
It is.
You know, it's not one of those things that's just hanging there so pristine. I mean, it kind of invites people to kind of get involved.
Interaction. I mean, putting on the hat.
Yeah, who
my
doesn't
hair is up, so it doesn't really work. But putting on the hat's always fun, and I have a mirror so people can look at themselves and decide whether they really should be an owl or
I love that
whatever
owl.
else. Yeah.
That's amazing. Hold it up a little bit. Yeah, that's so good. I love it.
It's a screech owl, a western screech owl. I've done, I don't know, several different kinds of birds, but I like the owls best because they
have those eyes.
Yeah, they have their big eyes, and the screech owls have these, like the great horned owls, have these fun feathers.
Now, have you ever taught any felting classes?
I haven't, but I took a felting class. That's how I learned to felt from someone you know, Pat Sparks.
Oh yeah, Pat Sparks.
Yeah.
She's fabulous.
She is fabulous, and she's she's internationally known.
She was in Sweden or something.
She was in Sweden, and then she goes off to Kazakhstan or one of those stands and learns about felt and brings back interesting ideas. And she taught me how to felt, and then from there I just played around with it a lot. So that's fun.
So once you got the basics down, I kind of have seen some of that about spreading out the wool.
And you get it. It just and I start with I like to buy wool locally. So most of this wool, most of the rugs for sure, and most of the birds have wool that came from the local area.
Local roadkill.
Not roadkill.
I'm kidding you.
I don't know. I've never seen a dead sheep along the road.
Just kidding. Skunk or
skunk,
whatever.
I don't know. I should try to. No, skunks are way too. But they do felt possum.
Oh, okay.
They mix it with wool. I think it doesn't felt by itself. But going out there and trying to pluck a dead possum would just be too much.
So you don't actually have to spin it and everything. You buy it pre-spun.
Actually, it's not spun at all.
Okay.
I buy fleeces.
Okay,
greasy, old, dirty fleeces. And then I wash them. And then I card them, which is a process where you comb them so that the fibers all go the same way. And then I just lay them out, lay the fibers out.
And then on the
then
tray.
soap and water, yeah.
Okay.
And with something like this, you make it this way. And then you around a form.
Okay.
And then you cut the bottom off and
form it.
Then you form it round on a hat block.
Okay. Okay, so it's those pieces, all the little individual pieces.
They're all attached.
Okay, so you do those separately, and then you felt them in.
Yeah, then I felt them in, exactly.
Okay.
And that's the real it's a tedious process, but I don't know. It's kind of fun to decide how to make, to decide what kinds of things I need, like where I need the designs and stuff like that.
Just the proportion.
Yeah.
And I guess that's like a trial and error. At first, when you start out, you make monsters, and then they start to look like things, and then you can say, oh, this is a western screech owl.
Absolutely. And in the first few ones, one eye would be up here and one eye would be down here.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to sort of figure out how to get that balanced. But once you get it down, it's kind of fun. And some work better than others. Some of them just don't quite make it, but this one does.
Now, I have a question for you. Do you knit as well?
No, I don't knit or sew.
Well,
I'm really bad.
It's interesting because, so many people now knit. And you see ladies everywhere with their knitting.
Yes.
And it is a very mobile activity.
It is.
Whereas felting with wool is a home-based activity.
You've got to definitely be someplace you can get wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's soap and water and wet.
Now, let's ask this question. Will you be demonstrating any felting?
I will certainly demonstrate felting if people can. Every year, somebody's, I'm always willing to demonstrate either felting or painting. And when people come by, a lot of people say, oh, you knit that. I say, no, I don't knit. And then I have to describe what I do, and sometimes it's easier just to show them.
Really? It's like, oh, I rub that wool and
I
play with it. Do you want to talk about the dates for the tour?
Oh, gosh, you would ask me that question. I know they're the first 2 weekends in October, and I think it's the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Michael, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
And then the next weekend. And in between, we have the school kids come out,
Oh,
which
gosh.
is really fun.
I bet they absolutely love the felting.
Yeah, they do. And usually we make things. I mean, the high school kids really don't want to make things. But the grade school kids, the 4th graders, love to make things. And so we make felt wristbands, little bracelets, or little various kinds of things, so that they get a chance to.
So you really do let them get in there and get their hands wet and dirty
wet
and
soapy, clean,
clean,
wet
soapy.
and clean, because the soapy water. Because you use soap to make the felt.
Because you've already got all the grease off the the furs,
off the
pelts, the
fiber.
That's the word, fiber. Okay.
But I do like to make. I make both 3-dimensional things like the bird head, and then these little boxes, which are just kind of fun.
And one of the things that I love about this box is that you've felted in some really fabulous silk.
Silk and metal. It's a fabric that I found that has some metal fibers that are woven in with the silk, and then the silk and cotton and linen, I think too, will felt together with the wool, and they just, because the wool shrinks so much, the silk doesn't shrink, and so it makes this little pebbly quality, which I really find interesting. And the metal makes it really shiny, which kind of glistens,
it's fun.
You know.
And then you build it around a form.
I make it around a form. In this case, it was an old computer, one of those old disc boxes from a computer. That you could make it around anything.
You could, of course. And people used to make felt on purpose or inadvertently by washing wool sweaters in hot water.
And in fact, that's how the people who knit make felt. Is they like will knit themselves a hat, but it's really big,
extra big, yeah.
And then they throw it in the wash with really hot water and lots of agitation, and take it out and see if it fits and put it back in.
I had a wool afghan once. My grandmother crocheted for me, and somebody washed it in hot water, and it came out. Yeah.
Baby. It's a baby toy at that point. It's not. Though it's nice and thick, I bet.
Oh, it was nice and thick. Yeah, perfect for putting over your feet. So I think you brought some images.
I did.
You not?
Yes. Good question.
Maybe they can throw some images up for us, so people can see a little bit of what you do.
Yeah.
We'll just see.
So this is a rug, and I do rugs. I like to do rugs. The rug design is that's a sort of an Asian design, but the technique is Middle Eastern. So I felt that the backs of the rugs are cotton muslin.
Oh, sort of lined or backed.
Yeah, they're backed, so they're much sturdier than they would be if
well
otherwise. And I think these are probably on some kind of loop, maybe. Can we get another image?
Sure. Okay.
And this is another bird. This is an American kestrel.
Oh.
Which is those little robin-sized birds of prey that sit on the wires, and hunt bugs, I think, mostly.
Okay.
But so I like them to be more or less anatomically correct.
I was going to say, if it's a bird of prey the size of a robin, their prey isn't going to be very big.
No, the prey's not very big.
Bug things.
Big
robin would attack that bug.
Maybe little birds, I don't know. But you see them around the county a lot.
Do you do any stuffed things?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think I do.
Like stuff. I was thinking of. I don't want to say
toys.
Yeah.
So this is the watercolors. I do watercolors as well.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
This is the watercolors are almost all the watercolors include lots of puns. So this one's a fairly old one. It's called Collection, and it's a scene in a museum, Smithsonian, I think actually, where people are looking at all these paintings, and there are puns in there. So there'll be the person reading the magazine in the lower corner there is reading a magazine set that collects about stamp collection, or bees, which collect pollen, and people collect rugs. And
another one of your theme things.
Another theme, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. It's helpful to have a theme, because then you can sort of follow it through.
You're right.
And you don't have to think as hard.
Exactly.
And I'm kind of lazy.
Well, I don't know. I think it takes a lot of ingenuity to be clever with a theme. And not beat people over the head with it.
Well, yeah, you can't. Yeah, that's true. And I also do oils.
That's really beautiful.
Thank you. So this is a new oil I did. This is a landscape that I've done. I don't know, I've been doing oils for a long time too, but watercolors for much longer.
Okay, so watercolor was what you did before you got into felting, am I right?
Yes, watercolor I did before I got into felting. Actually, both the watercolor and the oil painting before I got into felting. I've only been felting since the 80s, which isn't very long ago, until you meet somebody who's born in the 90s, and then you really know. Then you really know.
I know. Once you start counting those decades, it just seemed like yesterday.
That's a very happy
Screech.
The Screech Owl. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And you'll have your watercolors on
Yes.
display, your oils on display.
Yes.
Now, I know that you show with your husband, so how do you keep that separate?
We have separate studios.
That's a trick question. 'Cause
I
already
know
knew
it.
that.
You already knew that.
Yeah.
And it's they're really fairly close. I mean, I have my own space, which is good because I'm clean and tidy, and he's not, because he does
Well, clay. Yeah, of course.
You know.
So and it helps to have a little bit of a breather as well in the creative process.
Well, that's true. Yeah, yeah. It's though I think we could. The dust would be his dust. The dust from the clay would be hard when I do the watercolors.
Right.
And the oil paints maybe, but it wouldn't affect the felt because you wash it anyway. You know, it's all.
What's a little road dust to an owl?
Yeah, nothing. No, a little dust. Go outside a day like this, and you get lots of dust. Yeah.
But it seems like you have a lot of light to work with. Your home is very light.
Yes, yeah. My studio is really very light, and that's very helpful. It's just a little house next door to the house we live in, and it's got plenty of room for me to do stuff I like to do, and I can turn my music up, and it may not be the same music Mike's listening to that day, so that works out. What do you know? Do
you find that you put on different music for different projects?
Yes, I do. And actually how I feel. You know, if sometimes in the morning the
coffee music.
The coffee music is much more classical and much more peaceful and things like that. But in the afternoon, you know, I want a little jazz.
So kind of a pick-me-up.
Pick-me-up, yeah, definitely.
Of course.
Lively. And both the felting and the oil painting are very active. You know, I move around a lot.
Sure. And now, as far as the tour goes, it's coming up pretty quickly.
It is.
And you and Mike are a couple of several artists, but one of a number of stops people can make in the Carlton, Yamhill area.
In fact, it's a really nice loop. People can come up, well, either West Side or 47 and hit Dwight Evald, who is in Carlton. Or a really nice shot is I don't remember her. I'm sorry, I don't remember her first name. Stubbs is her last name.
Okay.
And she's got a studio up on the hill between Newburgh and Carlton that's just got the most fabulous view, and she's a beautiful new space. So she's new this year.
Oh, okay.
Always fun to go look at new artists.
Yeah, of course it is.
And you have to drive through the wineries to get there, so the vineyards and things is always fun.
It's just a really lovely time of year in general.
It is.
Well, Liz, I really want to thank you for being here today, and I wish you a lot of success on this tour. I think you said it was your 5th year?
I think it's my 5th year, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
You're getting experienced. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay.
I'm definitely ready.
Good. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay.
Bye.